ML Sports Take, what's up, Bonnet family? It's all brought to you by our good friends over at St. Bonaventure University's online Master of Arts in Journalism, digital or sports. Go ahead and visit sbujournalism.com. Today you can graduate in 1.5 years, and of course, it's flexible for your schedule, 100% online. What am I supposed to say? I mean, this is another game that we're going to remember this season by. It's just a horrible effort from the beginning until literally a few minutes into the second half. This team had nothing emotionally. It was not motivated. And it's almost like they needed motivation to be created, right? Because all year long, and you heard the broadcasters, it almost looks like the Bonnies rather play up to the competition and play. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. If you're just waking up from under a rock, we've been out of the rock for a long time. In fact, the entire season, a 12-19 team outplayed St. Bonaventure in every facet of the basketball game today. Think about that for a second. At home, on senior day, and it was almost like they needed motivation. They almost had to create motivation from a game prior to today. Wow, you had the chance. You could have beaten George Washington, and then you would have had a chance to win at home today and gotten a double bye in the A-10. How about that? Wow, amazing. If you needed a motivation, if you had to have it created, you could have created it with a freaking win before today, instead laying an egg on the road. It is amazing. It is so maddening what has happened with this team to finish the regular season just 6 games over 500 and 500 in conference. And, the first half literally set basketball back for 100 years. I mean, Bonaventure offensively, they didn't get their first points until the 16:58 mark with a Woods jumper. The shot selection was terrible. The turnovers, nobody was moving. They looked uninspired. This game was 12-5 with 12:45 to go. Bonaventure had 7 points at the 9:16 mark. Yeah, that's what we're dealing with. They had 15 points at the under 4 timeout. This game at the half, stunningly, was 26-21. I didn't think Bonaventure was going to score 20 points in the first half. That's how bad they really were. Now, in the second half, they started to turn around a little bit, obviously. They scored 44 compared to 21. I cannot imagine what Mark Schmidt said to them at halftime because it looked like he was pissed off. The shooting was not good. They were 40%. Shot selection was brutal. They took 25 threes. They only made 8 of them. And again, same old on defense. They're chasing, they're over doubling, they're over tripling, they're out of position, they're behind all the plays. And what happens? Layups, fast breaks, wide open threes. St. Louis killed them on the boards as well. Where does rebounding start? Ask Dennis Rodman and Charles Barkley where it starts. It starts with effort. Charles Barkley, Dennis Rodman could out-rebound 7-footers because they boxed out. They knew how to do it. They knew how to put themselves between the player and the rim and go up and get it. Read the weak side. It doesn't matter. It starts with effort. That's what rebounding starts with. They got crushed on the boards because they weren't trying, in my opinion. They got beat 18 rebounds. 18, 41-23 were the final numbers. I mean, just terrific. Bonaventure, normally a very good free throw shooting team. 13-21. I don't know. Not a lot of legs. Was it just kind of like an I don't care attitude? Maybe. I mean, they got 16 points off the bench from Barry Evans and Asemvis, right? And Daryl Banks started for some reason. And what did he do? He played 29 minutes and scored 0 points. So again, the Daryl Banks roller coaster ride inside the Bonaventure ride. Mostly this is who Daryl Banks has been all year. 29 minutes to score 0 points on the final home day of his career. I mean, if that doesn't stay uninspired, I have no idea what does. Chad Venning was awful in this game, had no idea what he was doing, came out, held the ball, just kind of looked around and just looked like he didn't even want to be out there. There were 3 guys to me who looked really like they wanted to play. Barry looked like he wanted to play. Adams Woods looked like he wanted to play, and maybe 4, I guess Asemvis at times, but it was mainly Flowers, Adams Woods, and Barry Evans. Those were the 3 main guys who really showed that they wanted to be there. A lot of these other guys looked emotionally like they didn't want to be there at all. Here's where I'm at. I mean, the second half, it was what it was, 47-44. They got outscored by St. Louis. They looked better in the second half offensively. The effort was a little bit there. 4 guys mostly were doing their thing. St. Louis went in and just beat them. I mean, most of it started from the effort standpoint. But the final thing that I wanted to say, because this game is what it is, this is the Bonnet team. Actually, there's two final things I wanted to say. Not only was this a frustrating year, the roller coaster up and down, all the stuff we've talked about, right? But this year, St. Bonaventure lost a lot of games at home. Usually, you can at least look at a Bonnet team that maybe is just above average, which really this team is right now. But you could still lean on and go, they're still going to be tough to beat at the RC. Teams can go in there and beat them. I mean, what does that say, too? I mean, that's another layer of this whole thing. I mean, they lost early to Canisius. That was an early sign. They lost, and I mean, Fordham came in and scored 80 on them. I mean, Duquesne came in and beat them. This team lost at home. St. Louis, last game of the year. They got the handout. VCU lost their last two. They got the handout. They got the handout. They beat Loyola Chicago. They crept back in. All they had to do was beat GW on the road and St. Louis at home. That's all they had to do. And they couldn't do it. They lost their last two games by double digits and 8 points. Excuse me. Yes, 8 points. But St. Louis was, this game felt like a 12-point loss, 15-point loss. Final thing I'll say is this. With the A-10 tournament coming up and with their blown opportunity in losing these two games, again, all you had to do was win two. And you'd get the double bye. And then maybe things can change, catch the lightning in the bottle that we've talked about. Boom. This team is not consistent enough. They're not emotionally invested enough. And they're just not good enough to make a run in the A-10 tournament. Where we were kind of trying to see, like, okay, this would be like when I talked about this with Clark Kellogg, where I said, wouldn't it be a fitting end of the year for them to just go win the whole thing? I feel if you gave me a percentage, I would give you 10% is what my feeling that this team could go in and win the whole thing, especially now without getting a double bye. Crazier things have happened. They're not gelling. They don't look right. Maybe there's chemistry issues that we don't know about. I have no idea. With all that being said, the final thing I want to note here is this. I don't want this team to get hot to get to the final and then lose. I don't want that. It's either win the whole thing or lose right away, because I don't want to deal with it. I don't know how all of you feel, but I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with them sucking me in, watching, getting hot, win one, win two. Banks goes in as a 30-point game. Venning looks great. The defense, they win a bunch of different ways. It's the Bonnet team we expected. They catch fire late. And then in the championship game, they lose like 65-59 and shoot like 35% from the floor. And they're in foul trouble. And they like leave 5 guys open in the last minute with threes or 2 minutes, whatever. I don't want to do that. I don't want to make the final and get hot and then lose. I just lose early or go win the whole damn thing, because I don't want to be in the middle. I don't. ML Sports Take brought to you by Burn Dairy, Camillus Golf Club, and Welch & Company Jewelers. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. As I always tell you, enjoy the games.